Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of Hot Topics. Recently, the border fence issue has been a controversial topic in American politics and in our society. There are many different sides to expanding the border fence, and today we're going to explore some of these diverse opinions on the matter. Plus, later on our show, we will have an exclusive interview with acclaimed immigration lawyer Lydia Velazquez, who will share her opinions on the matter at hand. The average San Diego resident supports the extending of the border fence and wants to see more action taken place on it. So now we will head out to Jessica Alberon, who is joining us at local high school High Tech High for the student response on the issue at hand. Jessica?
Hi Chris, thanks. We're out here at High Tech High with Brady. We're here to ask him his opinion on extending the border.
Well, my opinion on extending the border is it should be built bigger and better. Illegal immigrants come into America and they get free hospitalization and things of that nature. So I think that's my opinion.
How do you think extending the border will help us?
Well, it'll definitely keep out terrorism, which is a big thing. I don't want to die. That's about it. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Brady. Now back to you, Chris.
Thank you for that interesting interview, Jessica. Student perspective is very important in this growing age of technology, where students' ideas rule the internet and make its way into the mainstream. Knowing ahead of time what kids think will help us interpret our media's knowledge on a subject. And now it is time in our segment for our expert source, Lydia Velazquez.
Lydia Velazquez is an acclaimed San Diegan immigration lawyer. We sat down with her and asked her some questions to get a better understanding of the facts of the United States, extending the fence along the Mexico-U.S. border. So, what is your opinion on extending the border fence?
Well, I think it depends on the purpose or why they want to extend it. There's been different proposals. It's going to be a very expensive proposition. If the intent is to deter undocumented migrants from coming across to the United States, it's going to be a complete failure. People will continue to come no matter what they have to do to get across. And what it does, when you extend it further, it is going to change the traffic of undocumented migrants coming across from certain areas to the more dangerous terrain. And the arguments that activists and human rights people have made is that it is channeling people to their death. And that that alone could be considered a violation of human rights. On the other side of the coin, you have the argument that, well, wait a second, no one is forcing people to come. They know of the dangers. They know people that have died. They have neighbors and friends that clearly understand that they could lose their life coming across, and yet they still want to do it. So it's their choice. If they want to come and risk losing their life. You have the government absolute right to protect the border. And so I am not advocating for opening the gates and have no borders. I am not an extremist. It's an issue of sovereignty. Every nation has the right to guard the borders and decide who comes in and what are the conditions for coming in. They decide who gets a visa and who doesn't get a visa. When you knock on that door to get in, they make a determination as to whether or not you are admissible to the United States. That is the sovereign prerogative of every nation. So I cannot say open the door, open the gates and everybody come in. That is not feasible, that is not practical, and that is never going to happen. But I think that we have to have a better understanding as to what it means to have immigrants and why immigrants come. The way that I see it, people will come with or without the fence. And so having the fence extend further and make it more difficult for them to come across along certain areas of the border only means that they're going to find other ways to come across, and perhaps, they will be in danger even more. But not constructing the fence further does not mean that they will think, oh, we won. Not this means that we can continue to come across. They're still doing it illegally. They're still breaking the law. So I'm not sure that it's really an invitation that we're sending if we decide not to construct the fence. And I think that if the government decides not to build the fence further, it is not because they don't want to. It's just that maybe it's not effective. Maybe the use of billions of dollars to build the fence, to strengthen the fence, is not going to be worth it. And so you have to do this cost-benefit analysis. What are we to gain if we increase the length of the fence to make it more difficult for people to come across?
Lydia offered some very interesting viewpoints against extending the fence. However, many argue that our country does not want to completely secure the entire border. Instead, they only want to secure the easy routes so that the only way illegals can get in is through extremely difficult territory such as the endless desert and the high mountains. Unfortunately, some cases of our law enforcement actually capturing these illegal immigrants end in maltreatment and sometimes torture. In some cases, these officers are committing more treacherous crimes than the illegals that they are capturing. The U.S. is raising human rights issues by routing the illegal immigrants into more dangerous lands and performing acts of abuse on captured immigrants. Extending the fence would only add continued pressure on our already failing economy. Migrant workers are the main reason that our grocery and labor costs stay low, which in turn benefits the dollar, the economy, and every American's income. Extending the fence would not be a long-term solution, but only an obstacle for American-bound immigrants to easily overcome. According to U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agencies, there are currently over 20 million illegal immigrants in the United States of America, over half of which are Mexican, who fill up our emergency rooms, schools, and hospitals and account for over 29% of crime. The people who are in favor of the fence, such as the Minutemen, say that the fence will make it more difficult for illegals and terrorists to enter the country. This is true, but not entirely. For ones that are determined to come, a fence will only make them attempt more dangerous forms of entrance. This is why the border fence will always be an extremely heated subject in our country, and we may never find a real answer to the solution. Extending the fence has its unlimited pros and cons for both sides of the issue, and it doesn't seem like either is gaining ground on the other. That is why the border fence is and will continue to be a hot topic in our country. This is the Hot Topics News Team saying good night.